Hello, guys, and welcome back to the Hot Drink Podcast, hosted by me, darklary. In my podcast, I would say anime, mangas, and TCGs and anything nostalgic are a subject. I have done some episodes. I uploaded two of them here on YouTube. Yes, the others are on Spotify. I used to do that on Spotify. I'm gonna send you guys, man, the link down below for sure. If you wanted to see, the previous episodes. Yeah, kind of like, although I have some, some episodes recorded meanwhile, but I do always feel like, or still feel, new to this field, new to this whole thing, and let's just see where's it gonna lead me. And that's for sure. So you too. Good. Yeah, I've been talking about, I gave an intro, a general introduction. I've been talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! And competitive card playing games. So yeah, how that has actually an influence on us, and how that's not, a meaningless thing as lots of people probably wanted to believe or wanted to have it. Yeah, I went further and talked about a bit of, in my, I think it was my third episode. Yeah, you guys can look it up. On how, especially millennials, do have kind of, let's just say, problem or crisis with that identity, because we are actually stuck between, two generations or two types of generations. You have Gen Zs who are, who don't have that much of a problem, adapting to the new world, and then you have the Gen Xers, I would say, and of course the Boomers, who are, yeah, representatives of the old world, let's just say, but we are stuck in between. And somehow, somewhere, some do say or insist, many of us millennials too, they have, in my opinion, a false belief. They say that, it's kind of a curse. It's I don't think that that's the case. Honestly, I think it's bullcrap to put it like that, because actually it's a strength. Let's think about it. I mean, like, you have access to two worlds, and that access is actually firsthand. So yeah, there are definitely things, from both worlds that are, negative, or probably definitely positive, and we just have to, we just have access to them too. And that's actually a blessing to me. That cannot be a curse. You cannot convince me that's a curse. Anyway, so just that was, a general overview on what happened so long or so far in the podcast. Today, I'm gonna talk about the internet in particular, and how it used to, impact us back in the day, and it's, I'd say in the zeros years or 2000s years, and how it became today. Of course, there's positive stuff to it, there's also negative stuff to it. We're just going to dive deeper into the subject today, and yeah, I just have my notes here right with me. I'm showing this, yeah, that's it. I keep it completely basic. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. So, yeah, I mean, just as a PS in this case, like, as you can see on my channel, there's some Yu-Gi-Oh games in there. There's some, yeah, deck profiles and stuff like that. So I'll stick to that too. Yeah, it'd be a good time. It'd really be a good time. So yeah, I would say grab your hot drink and stick with me through this episode. Cheers. Right. So as an intro, I would say I have, as a question in here, how did the internet actually, impact us, impact our generation, our way of thinking? Because I remember back in the day when, yeah, it's sad to say that as a, as a 90s kid, as a millennial, back in the day, I feel pretty old. Anyway, I would say, especially me, I didn't grow up, have that much of a big access to the internet, especially when I was a kid. I mean, we didn't even have a computer at home. I think first computer I had was like when I was 15. Yes, I was 15 when I got my first computer. It was Windows, I guess. Yeah, Microsoft Windows, like 2007 or something like that. Yeah, that was it. And from there, even the access to the internet, it wasn't the way it was. Like you guys, especially millennials, man, and even some of you Gen Zs, man, you do remember the MP3 players that we had back in the day. MP3, MP4 players. That was something revolutionary back in the day. If you had a piece of those, like I mean, you kind of remember the looks that you got, the eyes that you got, on the play yard, at school and something like that. I mean, you pretty much got it. If you would show up to school having one of these gadgets, like, oh dude, like you was pretty much nailing it, for more or less. Yeah, I mean, the way we used to to deal with the whole technology that we had back then has been completely different. We probably watched some YouTube. No matter the case, actually, what was going on there, we had plenty of I wouldn't say plenty, but we had access to, let's just say, I mean, who of you remembers MySpace? How about that? Do you guys remember MySpace? Because in these days we didn't have something like Twitter, and it wasn't that much of a thing. Actually, it was nothing. Facebook kind of made his road to become, in the late, I would say late 2010, late 2000s, the end of late 2000s became, you know, it began to become a thing in itself, and then accelerated to the degree that it is today. Anyway, so that was actually our way to deal with to deal with social interactions, meet some friends, and yes, sure, why not? I haven't mentioned that, my dumbass. We had MSN, man. Do you remember MSN? That was cool. That was, I mean, like, there was no WhatsApp in there. There was no, I don't know what. We had MSN, we had ICQ. So basically, we didn't have stuff like Netflix and stuff like that. It was controlled. I would say the whole media, the whole data stuff has pretty much been controlled. What we had though was we could, meet up with each other, back in the way. We actually had some, we went out. Sorry. Sometimes we went out. We could play some soccer or football, call it the way you want. We could play some card games, as in Yu-Gi-Oh, stuff like that. We could go to PlayStation stores. We could go to cinema if you wanted to. Just to cite a few instances. I don't know what happened to this today, honestly, and I don't want to sound like a boomer or something like that. But we had a shape when the internet accelerated. I would say in the 2010, so 11, 12, and so on. Although, I mean, it wasn't even that much of a thing, I'd say, back then. But now, if you would compare it to today, especially after the AI boom, I would say, I mean, AI brought it to a differently, to a wholly different level. Yeah. I mean, now the 2000 and, I mean, even late 2010s, so 17, 18 probably. Yeah. They seem like, I don't know, like I would say like 2000s, like the 0 years probably. So AI shaped any damn thing. You know it. You heard about it. You witness it through your whole day, I would say. Yeah, you can actually see that shift. I think it's, yeah, that's when you can actually see the patterns. Yeah, it's called hot drinks for a reason, man. It's called hot drinks for a goddamn reason. Yeah. So let's talk about what's actually going on right now with this shift that we have today. Okay. Now, we have stuff like, I would say, on social media. Social media is accelerating. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have YouTube. That's actually, with its new functions and the whole lives. We have the fight with algorithms. We have influencers have actually become a thing, right? influencers, podcasters, and honestly, I don't necessarily see it as I do not perceive it as an evil or sort of as a, it's just that be some bull trash outside, some bull crap to say it to see it like that even. Why? Because I mean, let's just stick to the truth. It opens up a whole lot of opportunities that hasn't been, let's just say, present back in the day. Okay, back you couldn't say, oh, I'm making a living off YouTube or something like that, or as a podcaster or whatever. Now, the good thing is you have so many. I mean, we are overfloated. We are actually overwhelmed with the amount of the amount of data, the amount of information if we wanted to, the amount of options to have some fun. I mean, when it comes to entertainment and stuff like that, no need to talk. Like there's actually no limits to it on the one hand, but on the other hand, and I think anyone feels like it, anyone knows what the heck's going on. I mean, it kind of forces or somehow it made us more and more, kind of lonely and alone in some cases. Only so, yeah, we don't see that socialization that much. We do not socialize that much. I mean, you guys, man, you can kind of remember that these memes when they compare clubbing back in the day to what clubbing has become today. Back in the day, it was like you went there, you had your fun, you probably met some nice people, and of course, I know there was some trouble going on in the club sometimes because you have some assholes. Yeah, whatever. But not so much for today, I would say, right? Like when it comes to today, I don't know, like I mean, anyone is just like, they're just meme. I hope it's just a meme, right? When they just take a picture, they actually stick to their phone instead of interacting with people inside of a goddamn party. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been to a party like, what was the last time party I had, man? It was 2015, yeah. It was a carnival party here in Germany, and that's it. I mean, I have never had a party again. Yeah, that's it. That's so much for it. But anyway, I mean, you see, we are sticking, more and more to our phones. Me, myself, I'm not excluding myself out of this. Yeah, and it's kind of sad, I guess. Yeah, I think it has its benefits, with no doubt, and also it has sadly, things that I wouldn't consider convenient. You know, things that we can actually fix though, which is going to be my next point. I think, as just like anything else in life, there's actually a golden mid, right? There's a golden mid. Now, I don't want to bring you guys back, especially Gen Zs and the newer generations. Now, I don't want to bring you back and say yes, you should actually live in the '90s or whatever, '80s or whatever. No, definitely not. But if we just could, if we just actually could make, some sort of a compromise, and I think it's possible. I think it's possible because today we know that, or we hear about it, that social interactions do pose a big obstacle to a lot, right? And I think the problem and the source of it, the roots of it, is just like that folks are not used to socialize anymore, right? Like, I mean, if you're fucking scared, and I'm not making fun of no damn body, I'm not gonna say, oh, you fucking weirdo. That's not my point. My point is though that if you don't take that courage, to get in a conversation, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because I struggled with that too. Dude, I didn't, I mean, believe it or not, I was so fucking scared having a phone conversation when I was 27, and I'm 33 now. Yeah, it doesn't have to be. That's my point. It doesn't have to be. I mean, I understand you're probably not that much of a socializer, you're not that much of a social monster, and nobody forces you to do that though. But please, 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 do me that one favor. Enhance your social interactions, man, at least to a degree that you wouldn't fuck up in life. You know? I mean, challenge yourself, go through these challenges at least in order to get what you want from life. And not to be behind. Not to have that feeling of a regret. You understand what I'm saying? You just say, oh man, all it took me probably is actually to go there, say hello to that person or to that girl or whatever, you know? Challenge yourself, which is actually, I guess, also one of the negative side effects that we have, this instant gratification. And again, I'm no exception to it. I stick in that too, right? Um, yeah, I would say, if we just could push ourselves, because, having a conversation, that's what I think. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong for sure. I mean, send something in the comments. uh, you know, socializing hasn't been that much of a problem back in the day, because, again, folks have been forced to socialize with each other, right? And so it was actually not that much of a thing. Now, nowadays, that we can actually, just stick to our phones, socializing becomes actually more and more of a challenge. And why? Because we do not practice it that much. That's it. You don't have to be out here, let's just say, a gifted orator, or a gifted rhetorician to connect basically with people. But a bit of social skills won't actually, what I'm saying, that would actually do you some good. And you can stay. I mean, I'm someone who's high degree introverted. Yeah, so yeah, just saying. I'm not saying you're bad. I'm not saying you're low values. None of that. I'm just saying, bro, please, socializing, if you would just adapt your game to that, let's just say to the degree possible, you're just going to have a better life. And that's what I want. you know that's the whole thing with that. Yeah, socializing and internet and all of that has now been my let's just say my subject. Let's see if I got something else to talk about. What else? I mean, the impact. Yeah, we talked about the impact too that it has on us today. I said we have actually a choice. Doesn't have to be that fucked up just because we have that amount of data and that amount of technologies. Doesn't have to mean that, doesn't necessarily has to result in us becoming, I'm saying, weaves or something like that. Anyway, I mean, yeah, I just can repeat myself in that case. So yeah, that being said, I would like to close up. I've been completely random, although I have actually a roadmap. Anyway, this is, although my very first video when I'm doing actually a podcast on YouTube, dude. Okay, so if there's something, if you have some impulses, if you have some, I don't know, ideas you wanna share with me or something like that, just do it. Go ahead. I'm gonna send you, like I said, a link below to the earlier episodes of the podcast on Spotify if you want to give them. Yeah, I mean, if you want to give it a listen to. Yeah, that's it. I would say I wish you a blessed day.